Hey guys, welcome back. So today I've got a bit of a different environment. I'm sitting in a hotel room while the Camaro's in the shop, getting a modification that is so weird it had to be pre-approved by the federal government. Actually, it's not really a modification. I mean, it is by the definition of modification. So before I explain what it is, you may have noticed in my vlog type videos where I take the Camaro on any type of a trip, I always let my dad drive. I actually haven't driven the Camaro hardly any since I got it. And the reason is I'm afraid of the airbag. I have to sit like super close to the airbag when I'm driving, and I really don't want it coming out and hitting me in the face. While an airbag might be better than, hitting the steering wheel at a really high-speed crash, the problem is they can come out when you hit deer. In fact, I hit a deer back in the day when I was just a young man in my 2006 Silverado, and luckily I had the driver's side disabled, but the passenger side came out. So after that experience, I try not to drive unless the airbag is turned off. So in the Chevrolet trucks, it's really easy to disable the airbag. But in this Camaro, it's not that easy, and you're not supposed to do it yourself anyway. I mean, there's federal regulations that, require vehicles to have, functioning airbags from the factory. So when you go disabling them, you might get in trouble. But I've got the Camaro at the shop right now, getting a toggle switch installed where I can turn the airbag on and off. You might be asking, well, how can I do that legally? And the answer is, you can actually get an authorization letter from the Department of Transportation, and what it does is authorizes a mechanic to install one of these toggle switches that allows you to just turn it on and off. But of course, not just anyone can get one. You have to meet a set of criteria. You have to either, one, have a medical condition that renders, the risk of getting hit with a airbag greater than, a crash without the airbag. Or if you, swear on the application that you can't sit more than 10 inches from the steering wheel, that is, 10 inches from the center of your chest to the steering wheel, then you can get it authorized. So it's pretty easy for me to get the authorization letter because I actually satisfied both of those criteria. So getting the letter is the first step. And then I realized trying to find somebody that will do it, that's another task. I contacted several different dealers, Chevrolet dealers, including the one where I got the car. And that dealer gave me the runaround for like 2 weeks. And I finally figured out that they weren't going to do it. And so I contacted a few others, and they just came right out and told me they wouldn't do it. They were afraid of liability reasons. They said they didn't know how to do it. But anyway, I finally found a place that does modifications to cars for, disabled people. And they've done it, plenty of times, so they knew what they were doing. And so that's where the car is right now. I had to travel quite a ways to get to the place, but it'll be worth it to get to drive my car. Alright, so they're done. There's my dad. He just went and picked it up. Let me get out of this hotel. Needless to say, I'm driving home. We got a 140-mile trip ahead of us. Getting caught up on some of my mileage that I've had to forego due to, airbag. But that's all taken care of. So I'm gonna enjoy this drive, and I'll guys, so I'm back home. It's actually a couple days later. Like I said, the trip was 140 miles. I was kind of tired when I got home, but it was great driving the car long distance like that for the first time since I've had it. And not having to worry about, getting hit in the face with an airbag if a deer decides to run out in front of me. Let's go around and I'll show you, the switch and everything and kind of talk about it a little bit. And the car is filthy after that trip. But anyway, here's the toggle switch, which it's actually really sophisticated. It's not just a normal toggle switch. When I called to get the price about this, they told me the parts alone would be $400. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, $400 for a toggle switch. But now that I see it, it's more than just a toggle switch. It's apparently it's got it must plug into the ECU of the car. It doesn't even give you a service airbag light or anything. So somehow it just disables the airbag when the key is turned off. You see they've got put that caution sign there. But yeah, hey, Ozzy, get out of there. You're in the way, man. Come here. Come on. But yeah, anyway, all you gotta do, is just turn that key to off, and the driver's side airbag just goes off. But yeah, guys, anyway, there it is. If you know anybody that needs something like this, that they either have to sit too close to the steering wheel, or they've got a medical condition that would render the airbag hitting them, really risky, just know that they can get an authorization letter from the DOT that, allows a mechanic to install one of these switches to where they can just disable it. And then they don't have to worry about, getting in trouble or perhaps their insurance not covering them or something like that, That is, you wouldn't want to do it yourself without the authorization. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, this thing was relatively expensive. The parts alone were about $400, and the guy charged, I think, 5 hours of labor, and it all totaled up to almost $1,000. So, if you or somebody you know is interested in this, be aware that it is relatively pricey. But I said all that to say this as well. Vehicle modifications for disabled people is an expense that is oftentimes a really big burden for those individuals. And something like this, might not be necessary in most situations, but there are a lot of, vehicle modifications that are, especially like ramps and lifts in order to transport wheelchairs. And a lot of people in wheelchairs require hand controls. All of those things are extremely expensive, and people that don't have to deal with that may not think about that. I'm disabled and I use a wheelchair, but fortunately I am blessed enough to still be able to work. So, picking up these extra expenses like this is, I can do it. But a lot of people are not able to work, or at least they're not able to work full time or in a position that, pays very well. So it's a real problem. Now, I can even attest to this. Back when I was just a broke college student, I couldn't afford car modifications, and I needed a way to transport myself back and forth to school. So at the time, there was a state grant program that you could apply for and, get some financial aid, things like lifts and ramps. And I actually did qualify, and I got a grant to help pay for getting a lift in my truck so that I could transport my electric wheelchair back and forth, to school or wherever. And if it wasn't for that grant and getting that lift, I don't know how I could have gone to school, because where I lived, there was no public transportation that accommodated, wheelchairs. But now, at least in my state, there isn't really any options that I'm aware of for disabled people. Of course, I probably wouldn't qualify for it now. I'm not worried about it for myself. I'm just saying there are lots of people out there that needs assistance. And I'm saying all that to say this. For a long time now, I have wanted to start a non-profit organization that, helps qualifying individuals with car modifications to help them to be able to drive and transport their wheelchairs and, whatever. But being the realist that I am, I know how much work goes into these non-profit organizations, and I just am realistic enough to know that I don't have the time to put into it right now. I have experienced this firsthand, at least in a way. I have set up several nonprofit organizations for clients, on the legal side, and I've counseled a few up and running, already existing nonprofit organizations. So I know how much work it is, and I just don't have the time to put that in motion enough to succeed, I'm afraid. But I hope in the future, hopefully the near future, if I do get a little extra time, I'd like to start one. And so I'd like, if I do, and, my channel's still up and going, I'd like to document it, and share it with you guys, share my experience with it. Let me know in the comments if that'd be something you'd be interested in. I don't know when I would do it or if I'll even do it, but, it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and hopefully I can make that happen. I want to say one more thing about that before I go. If you're looking for a charity to donate to, if you need a tax deduction or you just want to donate some of your, extra cash to a good cause, consider looking into, see if your state has some kind of a nonprofit organization that helps, assist picking up the bill for car modifications that allow handicapped individuals to drive and transport their wheelchairs, because there is a need for it, and it's a big deal that we don't think about really. But guys, that's enough about that. Thanks for watching the video. I know it was kind of boring. I just wanted to share this with you. It's something different, but now that I got the airbag on off switch, I'm gonna be having a lot more fun with this car. If it doesn't rain, I'm planning on taking it to the track tomorrow, which it is cloudy today. If the rain does hold off, I think I'm going to take it to the track, so keep an eye out for that video. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that, and hit the like button if you want to support the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.